Have you ever called 911? Chances are that one day you will have to make a call to 911. In a world that increasingly relies on text messaging and instant messaging, a good old-fashioned phone call is still the best way to get the help you need. It can often be a stressful situation for the caller and sometimes confusing for the dispatchers trying to make sense of the situation over the phone. What do you need to know to make sure you get help fast? Welcome to Take Notice. My name's Lisa Charney, and here to answer all your questions is Sandy Varner, a fire and EMS dispatcher for San Mateo County. Thank you for joining us, Sandy.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. I'm glad to be here.
When should I call 911?
Whenever you feel threatened or there's a fire or you see anyone in danger, it's certainly any good time to call.
When should I not call 911?
That's variable. It's always best if you can, because we get a 911 screen or a screenshot, and that helps pinpoint the location of the emergency.
I'm sure a lot of people think that they are dealing with an emergency when in fact you are not looking at the situation as an emergency. Can you give us some examples?
Barking dogs are really not an emergency, but the person that's calling it in perceives it to be an emergency. We still deal with it because it's a request for service.
What should I do in a non-emergency case?
There are 7-digit numbers that are posted in your phone book, or you can go through 411, I believe, or Google it, and that will give you your police department or your sheriff's office, whether you need either one or the other.
So when I do call you, where does the phone call go? I've always wondered that.
If you call 911, the phone call is from a cell phone. It will go to a cell tower, and they've really narrowed them down to what they used to be before. But now we're pretty close to where you are, and we will, of course, ask the address and the phone number. We'll have you repeat it twice, and then we'll ask what the emergency is.
I've heard that some calls bounce off or go through CHP. Is that true?
That is very true. If you're on the freeway, sometimes it does go directly through CHP. Sometimes it bounces off the freeway. But if it's a CHP on the freeway call, we would transfer you back to CHP. If it's an event that's off of the freeway, but you just happen to get CHP, they'll transfer you in.
So CHP 911 operators are different than San Mateo County?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, what is the difference?
They deal with the highways and traffic.
Oh, and you're dealing with inner cities.
Everything else.
all the rest.
Yes.
If I see a danger in the roadway, a mattress in the roadway, should I call 911?
Absolutely. And even if you come in on a CHP line or they transfer you in, we'll still take the information. And we might transfer you back, or we'll probably just call CHP for you because we don't want you driving and being on your phone. So we'll call and say there's a hazard. And usually they already have it, but we call them anyway, just in case. Ladders, mattresses, chests of drawers.
And that applies if I see an accident on the road as well?
Absolutely.
And somebody needs assistance?
Yes, we ask a lot of other questions then.
What if I see a drunk driver on the road?
Call 911.
911.
Yes. What we want from that is a vehicle description and color. Make a color if you can. And if possible, a license plate. That is iffy because it's hard to tell if they're good license plates or not. And perhaps a description of the driver, how many people are in the car, what's the speed, why do you think they're intoxicated or distracted.
And those are questions that you will ask them, why you think they might be intoxicated. Are a lot of those phone calls maybe just annoying drivers on their phone?
I don't think so. I think most of them are legit. We have a lot of texting right now, but it's a 50-50 shot. I'm not going to take a guess,
Do you get calls with people complaining that there are people on their phone while they're driving?
Yes, a lot.
And now, is that an emergency situation?
It's not an emergency, but we would pass it along to patrol. Make sure they have it.
In a regular, I hate to say in a regular emergency situation, but I know we're talking about roadways right now, but in a regular emergency situation, what is some of the information that you might ask the caller?
First of all, the location. It's location, 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 and then their phone number in case we lose them and need to call back. But generally, we need it just as that precaution. We ask them what's the emergency, what's inspiring them to call.
What the situation may be.
What is it? Because we have to define it by if they want police, fire, or medical, and that person will, if it's a law call, the law agency will handle it. If it's a fire or medical call, it gets transferred to county.
And you're the one that discerns what kind of emergency it is, fire versus paramedics.
Yes, yes.
Do you have any memorable experiences? I'm sure you have a lot. You've been a dispatcher for a long time.
Yes.
Any particular instances that stand out in your mind?
Well, I was just recognized for providing CPR instructions for a gentleman that was in La Honda, and he was in a very confined location and had to discuss getting him out of the confined area to provide CPR. And once they got him out, they started CPR. Fire department shows up, and they were able to take him to Stanford, and he's all better.
Because of you, because of
He
your
had
help.
hands-on, yes.
Well, that's great. And he's doing okay now, do you know?
Yes, as far as I know, he went home.
That's fabulous.
Okay.
Now, you probably get a lot of people that call in that can't speak very good English.
Yes, that's
And I'm
true.
sure that's got to be tough because they need emergency help.
Yes, that's exactly true.
So what should somebody do?
We try to make them comfortable in their language. They always try to speak English, but what I tell them is if I can't quite understand, I'll get them a translator. I don't want them to thinking that I don't think that they can speak it well enough. I want to be able to understand it so I know exactly what they're saying to me. And we have language translators for just about everything you can think of.
Kids now are being trained to call 911 at a much earlier age than I was trained at when I was small. What should we teach our kids about calling 911?
Use it for an emergency. You need to have your address and your phone number. Then speak clearly, take a breath, and answer the dispatcher's questions, and they're going to provide help for you.
And that's probably the same advice that you would offer an adult because
Yes.
they need to slow down,
Yes.
take a breath. You're talking to
Yes.
panicked people.
Yes, every day.
I mean, that's
Yeah, that's why they call.
they need help.
They need something.
Do you, in your experience, have you gotten a lot of 911 non-emergency calls from kids that have just picked up the phone?
Oh, yeah, they randomly dial. Babies do it. They get mommy's phone, and you can hear, a little toddler in the background. Kids will do it as a prank. Sometimes they go from payphone to payphone along the street, and we just follow it and try to track it down.
Yeah,
as
because you
best we
certainly
can.
don't want to dispatch help.
Well, we have to check it if it's a 911 hang-up. So we would send law enforcement as a welfare check and tell them what's going on so that they have a kind of understanding. Get little kids running around, pulling out the phones.
Tell us about your dispatch staff. How many people are currently in 911 dispatcher?
In the room, we would have 4 fire EMS dispatchers, 4 call takers, 2 would be EMD and fire, 2 would be law, and then 4 or 5 law dispatchers,
So they have
plus a supervisor.
So they're specialty dispatchers that specialize in one
Yes.
area versus another.
But you can cross-train. I was cross-trained for many years on law and fire and EMS.
Oh.
But I just decided at the end of my career to kind of focus on some other things. So, but you can be cross-trained. You can do all disciplines.
So what's a normal work day? I mean, what's your hours like for,
Oh.
you don't have a 9 to 5 job.
No, we have 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., noon to midnight, which I call the noon to noon shift because it seems like nobody ever goes home when you see them. And then we have an 8 o'clock shift in the morning for EMD, a 10 o'clock shift. These are all 12-hour shifts.
So they're 12-hour shifts. And in that
Yes.
12-hour shift, what would you say, I know it's hard to say, but majority of the calls in a 12-hour shift, what do you think those calls are on an average?
I'd say medical and then law enforcement.
Law enforcement meaning break-ins or criminal activity law enforcement?
It depends on what shift you're working. Day shift is usually the petty crimes, the car break-ins. We don't have a lot of those in San Mateo County, but we do have some. The barking dogs.
Which we covered is not an
Theft,
emergency.
Right. Theft, just miscellaneous, kids from school parking in places they shouldn't. Trash fires in the afternoon, it just depends. But nighttime, it's a little bit different. It's more of a felony type sometimes.
Can a caller stay anonymous if they're calling to maybe report criminal activity
Yes.
on somebody or a neighbor?
Yes, they can.
They don't have to.
We would it depends on the crime, and we might encourage them to at least give us a phone number, but we don't arm wrestle somebody for their information. We want the information.
If somebody does call and they do give you their information, are they ever followed up on? Is it
That would be by the detectives and the law enforcement agency or the fire department.
depending on what the
Depending on what it
situation
was,
is?
yeah. Yes, we would not bother them.
This is a very stressful job. I can't imagine a 12-hour shift and how many calls that you deal with. Are there a lot of people that are stressed out that can't handle that? Do you get trained in how to remain calm in a situation and to not overly stress out?
Our training academy right now is very, very good, and the kids that come out of it are prepared to take these calls, the screamers and people that are just overly upset that they are beside themselves. But there's always that call that'll get under your skin because, you're taking 15 calls and all of a sudden you got something different. So it's a matter of self-pacing and just remembering that the next caller could have a bigger emergency and they need your help.
Yes, and they need fast help.
Right.
So no day is like the same.
No, every day's a learning day.
You never know what's going to come across your phone.
Nope, you just got to be as prepared as possible, prompt and prepared and ready to go.
Unfortunately, you probably hear a lot of people at their worst too.
Oh yeah, well, they're not calling because they're having a good day. They kind of need us, and we just have to blow off let them have their steam, and just take it as it's. Just fix what the thing is. Fix the problem.
You covered a lot of information, a lot of important information. Is there any other advice or tips that you would like our viewers to know if they ever find themselves calling 911?
Just remember we're there to help you. We want to do the best we can as quickly as possible. You need to, I know it's a stressful situation, but listen to the questions. We are not asking you for personal information so we can think up things. We need that to help you. So just remember that's what's going to happen, and we will get you help as quickly as possible.
And so based on that, you probably get some combative people that are wondering why you're asking certain questions.
Oh yeah.
And you have to.
Those are the daily challenge.
You have to kind of get them back in their lane.
But some of them are not going to be. They don't want to be helped that way. They are just loose. They're not prepared for what's happening to them, and they don't know how to deal with things. Then people need other kind of help that we can't give them on the phone. They need more of a psychological issue, that they're mentally ill. So we treat them just like another caller. They're screaming at us. It's just what they do.
So when you have to call 911, you are asking these questions so you can get them the help that they need.
Every time.
Because every situation is different.
Yep.
So make sure to answer precisely and clearly.
Every time is different.
And I know it's hard, but try to stay calm. That's probably the number one rule. Is try to stay calm.
Not likely, but it's going to happen eventually. There is a sound that you can tell when the caller just settles, and they're not screaming, and they know that something's happening, and they know that it'll be taken care of.
Yes, and I'm sure if someone's calling 911, let's say for a possible break-in, somebody's in their house and
that's scary for them,
and they're hiding. It's scary, and you are their lifeline. Yes. You are the one person that's going to keep them grounded. That's got to be
very. Keep them on the phone.
Yes.
We keep them quiet. We sometimes have to have them tap on the phone to answer questions. We ask what we can. We understand that they probably can't talk, but we ask what we can. Like, how many people? Can you tell me how many people? Tap on the phone. Do you know them? There's a lot of. This is all built around what the caller's telling us.
Very intriguing. Well, thank you so much for providing so much information. Wouldn't have known a lot of that. Thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. My pleasure.
Well, I, for one, am grateful for the dedicated men and women like Sandy who are on the other end of that 911 phone call. We hope today served as a great reminder of what to do when you're faced with an emergency. If you want more information about San Mateo County Emergency Dispatch, visit 911dispatch.smcgov.org. I'm Lisa Charney. Thank you for tuning in to Take Notice. Have a safe day.